So here in the introduction, we as human beings, we need certain basic needs. Human activity, if you take human activity on daily life, we need certain basic resources. Needs basic resources. What are those resources we need to carry out our daily activities? To carry out our daily activities, we need certain resources like we can take air, water, then wind. If I say air, water and wind, we can say that basing on this air, water and wind, these are the basic amenities actually. Air, water, wind, then you can take the wood, then food, whatnot. You can add as many number of needs as possible. So if you take in these cases, from these examples, from this classification of air, water, wind, wood and food, so on and so forth, here the basic needs, they are broadly classified into two types, that is these resources. If you take the resources, these resources are of two types. One is natural resources, and the other one is natural resources and artificial resources. When you go for natural resources, we have only three categories, that is air, water, and that is wind. Air, water, wind. These are the three natural resources where the human activity needs. If you go for artificial resources, you can take plenty of examples, that is fuels, particularly fuels like coal, petroleum, coal, petrol, diesel, okay, then wood, then charcoal. All these are artificial resources. So what we have to understand here is, when you say artificial resources, when you say natural resources, these are renewable resources. These are renewable resources, that means inexhaustible. We can also say that they are inexhaustible resources. If you go for artificial resources, if you are going for artificial resources, non-renewable resources, these non-renewable resources can also be called as exhaustible resources. So coming to the point, what exactly here we want to discuss from this introduction. Today, if you're taking sunlight, for example, air, water, wind and sunlight, if you're taking sunlight and if you take air, these are the unlimited resources which are given to the mankind. For example, if you take air is a mixture. You take air is a mixture. It contains oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, methane, noble gases. All these gases are present. So if you take air is a mixture and air is inexhaustible. It is the natural resource which is given to the mankind to carry out the various activities. In today's generation, in the technological advancement of the mankind, today we are utilizing the air as a mixture in various forms. Air is used to manufacture pure oxygen. It is used to manufacture pure oxygen. The same air is used to propagate the sound. Air is used to propagate sound. Then air is used to fly. air jets, and to carry out various the metallurgical activities. It is also used in the metallurgical industries. It is also used as an industrial source. It is also used as an industrial source, for example. Similarly, if you go for sunlight, if you are going for sunlight, if you take sunlight is a natural, sunlight is a renewable energy. Today it has become the alternate source for the generation of electricity. Sunlight has become the alternate source for the generation of electricity, that is solar plants. It is a source for polar plants, that is pollution free electricity. It is used in pollution free generation of pollution free electricity. In fact, in chemistry, in the language of chemistry, sunlight, all those reactions which are carried out in the presence of sunlight are photochemical reactions. So it is an inexhaustible source of energy, photochemical reactions. So in this way we can use the natural source of energy, that is air and sunlight, and of course water also. It is used to carry out the various activities. Wind energy is the mechanical energy where we can produce, but the limited sources which are given to the mankind are, that is coal, petrol, diesel, wood and charcoal. Actually this petrol, diesel, these are the two liquids. Petrol and diesel are the byproducts of the petroleum. Petroleum is a kind of fuel, and this petroleum, when it is subjected to destructive distillation, it produces coal and diesel. But if you take coal, if you are taking coal, wood and charcoal, these are the solid fuels. So let us also find out how efficient we are in utilizing the limited resources of energy, that is artificial resources, that is non-renewable. We can say that this is non-renewable sources. Artificial sources are non-renewable sources. So if you take the list of materials, and in this list of materials, if you try to classify the materials from natural materials to that of the man-made materials, let us classify these materials into, there is two types. One is natural materials and man-made materials. If you go to natural materials, yes, air is a natural source. This is a natural resource which is given to the mankind. Air is inexhaustible and it is always renewable source of energy. Sunlight also, it is a renewable source of energy and inexhaustible. Soil also, actually if you take the 2/3 of the, almost 40% of the surface area of the earth as a planet is occupied by soil. Soil is made up of different components like outer layer, middle layer and inner layer. The crust, core, mantle, we know that these are the three layers. The outermost layer is the mantle area, and crust and core, all three makes up the important composition of the soil. Then if you go for metals, yes, the isolation and the extraction of metals is done because of the vast availability in the different places, but only the discovery and the isolation or detection of these metals in the minerals is an important point, where the geologists are most successful in the world over in extraction of metals from their mineral ores. If you go for cotton, yes, cotton, wood, petrol, all these are the natural sources of energy. That is like, of course petrol is an exception. Petrol we cannot take in terms of natural source of energy, but if you go for non-renewable mode, the man-made is non-renewable. Exactly what I mean to say is that man-made is non-renewable, exhaustible, I can say, exhaustible source of energy. So natural is renewable and inexhaustible, renewable and inexhaustible source of energy. So this table, yeah, if you take car and TV, it is only manufactured. Then food also depends on the yield of the crop by which we are trying to produce it. Furniture depends on the quantity of wood which we are trying to take, which is limited in the resource. And rubber, which is made up of plastic. Pen, synthetic plastic. Paper, we get it from wood again. Fridge, again from different synthetic polymeric compounds, high density polymers, we can get the fridge. So therefore we can classify systematically the difference between the renewable source of energy and non-renewable source of energy in the form of natural materials as well as man-made materials. After understanding this, now let us go for the next part of the discussion. Actually, as already we have discussed, if you take a fuel, let us go to the new topic, that is fuel. If you go to a fuel is a substance. It is a substance which is obtained. A fuel is a substance which is obtained from the dead remains of the buried plants and animals, dead remains of the plants and animals, and of course even trees also. Trees in deep layer of soils. Some millions of years ago, you are finding that there are plenty of plants and trees and animals here. These animals, because of the landsliding, or they were available at the wetlands, but because of the calamities, the adverse calamities of the atmosphere, these plants, animals and trees, they were just trapped in the deep layers of the soil. In the deep layers of the soil, they were buried to millions of years ago, and because of that, what is happening? You find that there is an increase in temperature, comma pressure, both were increased, okay, and as a result, because of this, a special type of process taking place increases and resulted in carbonization. This carbonization process involves formation of coal in the deep part of the earth. Okay, it's a black solid. Carbonation is a black solid which has high calorific value. So that means the substances obtained from the dead remains of the buried plants, animals and trees in the deep layers of the soil, which resulted in high temperature and pressure, which both increases. When high temperature and pressure increases, that results in the carbonization formation of the coal. That coal is nothing but black solid is formed, and this black solid is nothing but, it results in the formation of a fuel. This is nothing but fuel. I mean to say, when you go for fuel, that means what is happening? Because this fuel has been compressed. For millions of years. Because of compression, because of the compressed phenomena, we have found that plenty of gases, liquids, solids have been produced. These gases, particularly in the case of solids, when the fuels have been compressed in the deep part of the earth's crust, if the fuels have been compressed, because of that compression, solids have been formed. So these solid fuels, therefore we can say that solid fuels cannot be called as fossil fuels. The fossil fuels can be coal, when you can take particularly this coal, and that is petroleum. Petroleum of course it is not exactly a part of fossil fuel, but so fossil fuels means only solids we are supposed to take, but along with the coal we could also get petroleum. So this coal is giving different different allotrophic forms of carbon. The coal as a fuel, as a solid fuel, is able to give different allotrophic forms of carbon. Like coal is going to give coke, it is going to give coal tar, subjected to fractional distillation, it is giving coal tar. Bituminous coal, anthracite. For example, anthracite is the purest form of the coal. It contains 95% of the carbon, purest form of the coal or carbon, and 95% of the carbon. Petroleum is able to give two important fuels, petroleum, that is petrol as well as diesel. These are the two important liquid fuels it is able to give. Apart from this, if you go for gases, we could get the gas called natural gas. Natural gas is nothing but the marsh gas. Marsh gas is nothing but, that is methane. Methane is also called as damp fire. It is also called damp fire. So here let us have a detailed discussion about the formation of coal. Coal actually coal is a form of it's a form of fuel. It's a solid fuel which is obtained from the dead remains of plants and animals in the inner surface of the rock, and that is produced in the form of a fossil and a fossil fuel. This fossil fuel is a solid fuel, and once you get the coal, it is actually, once this coal is obtained, coal is a thick black colored solid which has a very rough surface, and it is crystalline rough surface. This coal which is obtained, actually, from where we are trying to get the coal? From the dead remains of plants, and animals. We got coal in the form of fossil fuels. This is fossil fuels. So this coal which is obtained is subjected to decomposition. This coal is subjected to decomposition, and this coal which contains vegetable matter, it is subjected to decomposition. Once it is subjected to decomposition in the absence of air, then immediately it gives different batches. Like first batch, it gives one type of part of coal in the form of peat. I can say all these are the amorphous forms. In fact, coal is nothing but carbon. Carbon is having a property called allotrophy. What is this allotrophy? Allotrophy is nothing but the pair of same elements which have the same chemical properties but differ in the physical properties can be called as allotrophs. In fact, coal, when we say the main element present in the coal is carbon. This carbon, sometimes depending upon the availability of its resource, we can call it as coke. Carbon and coke and coal all mean one and the same, but only thing is that if you take coal, this coal, when it is subject to decomposition, this coal which is having vegetable matter, when it is subjected to decomposition, it gives different batches of amorphous forms of carbon. All these comes under the amorphous forms of allotrophic forms of carbon. Peat, lignite, bituminous coal, anthracite coal. Then we have many more: lamp black, animal charcoal. Many are there, but among all those, these are very important. If you take peat is the first batch. In the first stage of the decomposition of the coal from the vegetable matter, in the first stage, the vegetable matter in the form of peat, it contains 60% of carbon. Then again, the same coal tar in the form of vegetable matter, the decomposition of coal will give you vegetable matter. That vegetable matter in the second batch contains 70% of carbon, which is harder than the peat, and when it is exposed to air, it starts disintegrating. Then the third batch of the vegetable matter after decomposition of coal is, we get bituminous coal. This is the purest form of the amorphous form of the coal or carbon, because it contains the 90% of carbon, and it is hard, black, both it is volatile as well as non-volatile. When you heat it, it gives volatile vapors as well as non-volatile vapors. What do you mean by volatile nature? That is quickly evaporating. Example, if you take petrol, is a liquid fuel, it quickly evaporates. If you go for non-volatile, non-volatile nature, non-volatile, that is not, okay, do not evaporate quickly, do not evaporate quickly. Like you can take diesel. If you take diesel, is not that volatile as in the case of petrol. That is what you have to remember. And the last one is anthracite coal, which is still more purest form of the, the coal, the amorphous form, 95% of carbon, hard, dense and black. And in the meantime, if you take the coal, this coal, when it is subjected to combustion or oxidation, coal contains carbon reacts with oxygen to give carbon dioxide. So what is the expected reaction you are expecting? This coal contains, let me put it in this way, coal contains carbon contains coke. So coke in the form of carbon solid, when it is treated with oxygen gas, if you heat it, you get carbon dioxide gas plus energy, carbon dioxide gas plus energy. So complete combustion, it gives, complete oxidation, it gives carbon dioxide. Incomplete oxidation, half mole of oxygen gas, upon heating it gives carbon monoxide gas. Carbon monoxide burns with a blue flame. Carbon dioxide gives lot of smoke. So carbon dioxide is a non-supporter of combustion, whereas carbon monoxide, it burns with a blue flame, it has highest calorific value. So therefore here the same coal, it contains coke. Coke is nothing but a good reducing agent. Coke is a good reducing agent. If you go for coke, this coke in the form of carbon, it is a very good reducing agent. And it can reduce all the metal oxide to metals. It can reduce all the metal oxides to metals. Then the second batch of the coal, when it is subjected to destructive distillation, it gives coal tar. Coal tar again subjected to destructive distillation, it gives the explosives, the different byproducts obtained from the coal tar. We can use it for different applications. Explosives, it can be used in the form of explosives, perfumes, photographic plates, naphthalene balls. Okay, it can be used even in the drug chemistry also for some manufacture of useful drugs, so on and so forth. So this entire chart will make us to understand how the coal is originated. If the coal is subjected to decomposition, then during decomposition it gives vegetable matter. When it is giving vegetable matter, it gives 4 batches of amorphous carbons in the form of allotropic form of carbon. The same coal or coke in the form of carbon, when subjected to complete combustion in the presence of oxygen, it gives carbon dioxide. Then the same coke, when it is subjected to distillation, it gives coal tar. Coal tar is a thick black colored liquid. Coal tar is a thick black colored liquid in that is metalling of roads. Road metalling is done even today with coal tar. Then this coal tar subjected to distillation, it has various applications in our daily life. So here the next part of the discussion is petroleum. Petroleum is the topic, and formation of petroleum, how to obtain petroleum. So how do you get petroleum actually? So what is happening here is, that is extraction of petroleum. If you take the surface of the earth like this is all impervious rock, impervious rock, wherein which it has 3 layers like this. It has 3 layers, and these are the oil wells. These are oil wells. Few kilometers, this very deep, the deeper zone from the surface of the earth. So here we have that is you have rock, oils, and here you have gases. So that means exactly what we are trying to understand here is, in the rocky region the oil deposits are present. If you take the microorganisms of sea, animals, they are deposited into the sea. They are stored in the sea, and they are because of the rise in temperature. What is happening here is then there is a rise in temperature as well as pressure. So these microorganisms of the sea, and that is animals of the sea, they just get after getting burnt, or after getting they are in the form of dead burnt nature. These microorganisms in the sea, they try to biodegrade, and they get compressed. Due to compression, what is happening? These microorganisms in the form of sea microorganisms and animals, they are preserved at the bottommost region of the sea, that is mixed with this. These are mixed with that means here in this zone, for example, in this particular zone, if you find animals and microorganisms, they are filled with sand and clay. Sand and also clay. Because of this sand and clay, the temperature rises. There is an increase in temperature, and also there is increase in pressure. It is also, you can also find that there is increase in the pressure. So because of this, what is happening? All this, they are finally converted into, that is, the petroleum. So frankly speaking, how do you understand the formation of petroleum? The dead sea organisms at high temperature and pressure. Dead sea organisms means here you can take all the living species which are present in the sea, and where they die and they reach the bottommost crust region of the surface of the sea, that is rock bottom of the surface of the sea, and there you find that there is continuous increase of temperature and pressure, and because of this there is a transformation of this dead sea organisms into directly the petroleum and natural gas. Natural gas, that's why it is also called as marsh gas or damp fire, because it catches fire very easily. That's why this natural gas can also be called as damp fire. We call this as damp fire. This natural gas and petroleum, it is stored for millions of years. Over the millions of years, it is a slow process, and it deposits in the inner region of the depth of the sea. Then this petroleum and the natural gas has to be explored. The exploration of the petroleum and the natural gas is done in the petroleum refinery. So at the petroleum refinery, the petroleum refineries are connected with the oil wells. Through the oil wells, they try to, that is, the machines which we used in the oil wells, they dig the surface of the oil to a deeper extent, to few hundreds of kilometers deeper. Then from these oil wells, they try to explore the petroleum as well as the natural gas. Petroleum is a liquid fuel and natural gas is a gaseous fuel. So therefore, the process used in the separation of various constituents, of the petroleum is known as that is refining. That means next, once you obtain the petroleum in the crude form, it is immediately sent to the refining. What do you exactly mean by refining? The process used in separating the various constituents of the petroleum is known as refining. In the petroleum refinery, at different temperatures, during the fractional distillation or fractional evaporation or fractional distillation of the petroleum, which is in the crude form, at different temperatures, you get different gases, fuel gases from the petroleum. One is petroleum gas. It is used as a fuel for home. Petrol is used for automobiles. Kerosene is used for stoves and lamps. Paraffin wax is used for candles. Lubricating oil is used for lubricants, and bitumen is a special type of liquid, crude liquid, which is obtained, and it is used as paints. And diesel is used for running diesel engines. Diesel is used for running heavy automobiles. This is for running heavy automobiles. So these are various sources of the petroleum. And if you go for natural gas, nowadays, if you take natural gas, this natural gas, it is obtained in the form of CNG. The CNG is pure, clean, and it is free from any smoke. So therefore it is easy to handle also. That's why this natural gas, now it is transported in the form of compressed. It is called compressed natural gas. Compressed natural gas mainly contains methane, and apart from the other hydrocarbons like butane and propane also it is present, so it can be used for domestic cooking. CNG is used for domestic cooking, can also be used for domestic cooking purpose.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.